Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another Saturday session. Today we're going to talk about a very important subject, about Mahavidya Goddesses and the sacred womb. Now, why is it sacred? And why are the Mahavidya Goddesses there? Now, first thing is we have to understand what is Mahavidya. It's Maha is the highest, high. Vidya is knowledge. So it's the highest form of knowledge. It's what this goddesses within your body represents. So now when we talk about that, then why are we so interested in the womb? What's so great about the womb? That's the question. Now, do women understand what's so great about the womb, other than they talk about that they have a womb and they are mothers and this, that, and the other? Now, do they know that the whole cosmic energy is within the womb, and all the wisdom goddesses are between inside a man and a woman? So is the Sri Yantra. The Sri Yantra is within our body. The triangles of the Sri Yantra keeps this body into shape and keeps the energy flowing in the body. Now, if you look at a Meru, you will find that there are tiers. All the chakras are governed by the main triangles of the Meru. And then all the other sub triangles are the one that constitutes your arm, your legs, different parts of your body, and the different organs that is within your body. So these triangles are very important. For that matter, understanding the Sri Yantra and knowing how to use it and visualizing it within your body is very important. So Tantra is not just about doing mantras and just about doing, having sacred geometry and understanding sacred geometry. It's about understanding human being. It's about understanding the energy within our body. How are we connected to ourselves? That's the most important thing. Are you connected with your own being? Or are you happy just being a biological human being, floating in the world, pretending to be human? Because if you don't know your spirit, you're a biological being. And to know your spirit, you need to know how your subtle body works. It's only when your subtle body and your physical body is connected together, they are in harmony with each other. You work, you move, you do things in this world based on the needs of your subtle body. And the subtle body works towards the needs of the universe. So when you look at politics, you look at people, there's a lot of people who claim to do womb work. Okay, because now we're talking about womb, so I'll talk about these womb workers. How many of them know the sacred sounds, okay, that actually resonates within the womb? Okay, how many of them know? Now when you go to learn with them, okay, do you ask them whether they know who the divine architects are within the womb, how a baby is created, what energy goes into forming the baby, what are the important energies that makes, like you find some child is born and he's a great musician at the age of 5. Another person becomes a great musician at 15. Another one never becomes one. So what is the energy that is in that particular child which is not in the other child? So That is basically what the energy within the womb can create. Okay, so there's many important things that we have to understand. So first is how the planets influence the child within the womb. Okay, then how the goddesses respond to the child within the womb. They form the child. You thought suddenly, it just grows naturally, that you have a head and a tail. You don't, it's not natural. Everything has created within the womb. So depending on the energy of the womb, depending on the energy of the person, a child is created. Okay, some of them get born deformed, some of them born with illnesses. I mean, not illness actually, sort of like they're born autistic. They're born with some they are sort of, I wouldn't call them sick, or I wouldn't call them a disease, but what I call differently able children. So the ability and the differently able child depends on the power of the womb. That is why a lot of women around the world who are a bit more educated in terms of this issue stop drinking, stop smoking, take care of the diet, and then there are others that don't take care of their diet. Now, where is the beginning point for this journey? Actually, I'll come back to the pubic hair. That is the first protective layer a woman has. The gateway to the womb is the forest that is before the gateway. When you remove, and today it's a style for a lot of women to remove it. Some even go as far as lasering out permanently. So what they do is they permanently take off the protection. So now, when you learn what I'm teaching about, you can't do anything about it. You can't change, you can't let it grow again. But if you carefully look at the way the pubic hair is formed, it's formed to protect the womb, to protect the gateway of the womb, okay? So a lot of women now shave, remove it, or trim it, for style. I don't know what style they're showing off, unless they all walk around nude, which is not so either. So now why do you move? Removing the hair takes away the protection. And who is the goddess who protects the womb, the gateway? It's Chinnamastaka. Now if you look at Chinnamastaka, you look at, she controls Ida, Pingala, and Susumna. And for a woman, it comes at the opening of the, for men it's in the perineum, for women it's close to the opening. Actually the opening is close to the perineum as well. So that is why, it's always been said, only a woman's body is connected from the crown to the base, because she receives the energy from the crown to give life to a soul in the stomach, in the womb. The information that comes from the universe comes through the navel into the umbilical cord of the child. Okay, so that all the information that comes through goes through the umbilical cord to the baby. So all the information goes through the navel. So the navel is where your past karma records are. From there you start this journey. Okay, when you're in the womb. Now, a lot of women have also said to me, oh, how can a man know about a womb? A man and a woman both know about the womb because they came from the womb. Okay, what they felt inside the womb is very sacred, and it's within the DNA and within the mind. Okay, a man cannot visualize the pain that a woman goes through when she's pregnant. Man cannot feel the changes that is happening when he's outside of the womb of what happens to a woman. But when he's in a womb, he knows, he feels everything. He feels also what the mother has done wrong when the child is in the womb. Because the outcome of whether it's wrong or right depends on how he or she comes out of the womb. So when we talk about womb, it's a very important subject. It's an important subject for both men and women to learn about. It is not just a woman's business, it's humanity business. So women out there who think we're a bit feminist in a lot of ways, because I've had comments of that, because I've been advocating about, the womb has to be empowered so that women can return to their power base. Because as long as women do not return to their own power, they are not going to be efficient first gurus. So all we have, because from the birth from the womb to the tomb, the mother is always the most important person. When she is the most important person, so your anger or your love comes from her. So if you grow up to be an angry person, that is because your mothers didn't have that capacity to give you anything better, to show you that love, to make you feel the love, because she keeps fighting with you. So remember that when a couple get together, they make an agreement with not just, to be married together, or not just for free sex, but a commitment that they will be good caretakers, or caregivers, sorry, not caretakers, caregivers, to the gift of a soul entering their family. Because the soul is out there wanting to come to different families. And it's unless you're blessed into parenthood, you will get a child. So depending on your own caliber, you get the child according to that caliber, because the child comes wanting to learn from you. Learn from you not to be who you are, but learn to be what you shouldn't be. So the child needs the experience to know what not to be. Unfortunately, when the child comes into the earth, if he or she forgets why they came here. One is because of the way childbirth is done, which is the most cruel and barbaric way, the way the hospitals do it, where they slap the tap the child, make the child need to cry. And then the cry, actually, why do they think the child cries? He say, hell, I'm out in the world today. I want to go back into the womb. It's safe there. Because they make it very unsafe. They have so bright lights, and they have people running with you, as a baby. It's crazy. The best way to bring a soul to this world is to do it the lotus way. That means you do not cut the umbilical cord off. You let the umbilical cord drop off on its own. So which means the mother carries the placenta, the baby, everything, until everything drops off. Because then the child has time to assimilate, to become, equipped for the world. So we bring a child with shock therapy. Okay. On the other hand, having birth, having lotus birth and home birth and all this big thing is not important if you do not want to live that way. I know parents that have brought the child with lotus birth, but the children don't get the guidance and the nurturing that they should receive from parents. I know the father, he's a bit crazy. His logic is not to work, and he's lazy, he doesn't work, so he's a caregiver in the house who doesn't follow rules of what a child needs to learn. He does what he likes, and the children grow up. I mean, they came from lotus birth, everything, and they lie, and it's not a very positive growth for the child. I don't want to talk too much of the children, but it's not a very positive growth. So even when you want to choose, first choice is you got to make sure that you're ready for a relationship. There's a post we're still talking on Facebook about sex and whether a guru can have sex, or whether, the question is this: first of all, what is a guru? Now, can you have a person teaching 10 people at the same time be a guru? No, you can't. Guru it's a mentorship. It's a personal intimate mentorship between you and another person, be it man guru, male guru, or female guru. Today's guruship is all about making money. If you're happy to be a slave to some person who calls themselves guru, go ahead. A real guru would not keep you around him or her for a long time. They'll teach you, ask you to go away, do your sadhana, do your practice, then they teach you as you progress. So it's like they come and go as they need to come back to you. If they've taken one step, then they come back to you, you give them another step, and another step that way. You don't stay with the guru forever. And here you find that, people like Amrita, the hugging mother and all that, they have 10,000 people. What do you learn from that? Okay, on the other hand, you can learn a lot by looking at the power of a woman. What she exhibits is what is the capacity of a woman. I mean, she can hug 10,000 people in one sitting, and she's not a very strong woman, physically, speaking. Energetically, she's strong, but physically, she's not. There's a difference between, I like to quote these two people, Sai Baba and the hugging mother. Sai Baba only has energy to wave like this. And he walks very slowly, and he's never, and then eventually end up in wheelchairs and then die. And he also claims to be a god, a Vishnu avatar. How can Vishnu end up in a wheelchair? Okay? Then Amma calls herself half the time KalԻ. And a guru never calls himself or herself guru. It's a relationship between the disciple and the guru. People talk about him, or not themselves. Now you have Nityananda call himself Shiva avatar. Shiva never takes an avatar. He's got no purpose for an avatar. He comes at different times only to his disciple, and he goes away again. It's only Vishnu that takes avatars, because he is the sun element. When you talk about Father, Son, Holy Ghost, he is the sun, Vishnu. So he comes like Jesus Christ, Buddha and all that, he comes to earth. and he's done 9, the next one he comes is when it's the end of the world. So Sai Baba came in when the world didn't end. He says he's going to come again when the world, it's the end of the world, time for it. But I'm sure somebody else is going to come in between and say he's Sai Baba as well. So you as a public, you as a person wanting to find the divine within you, okay? We don't talk about God outside of you, we talk about God inside of you. If you want to find the God within you, then you need a teacher who can show you the way. But the only way you can have that is that person is ready to teach you one-on-one. Not if they're going to have 10,000. Even for me, when I'm traveling, I can't teach one-on-one when I'm traveling because my flight alone costs $5,000. Say if I'm going to the US, it costs me about 5,000. So I don't think somebody is going to pay me 10,000 to be with them for a day. Okay, so when I'm traveling, then I tend to teach 15 to 16 people, that maximum. Even that, I find it difficult. When I have more than 12, I'm already finding it difficult to actually give them personal attention so that they have something to take home that is valuable. You can't do anything with students on a 3-day workshop or 2-day workshop. It has to be a week and above, because one of the principal thing is this: it's however great a teacher you are, I still believe there's a bit of ego involved in us. Okay, if you look at way back in the days when the great masters, the seers were, there was still some play of that. So, and they all use Vedic astrology. All through time, they use Vedic astrology within the Tantric and within the Vedantic journey. Today's world, okay, when the energy is very fast, it's difficult for us to be 100% sure of who we are meeting. If we are today, we wouldn't have the amount of divorces, the amount of breakups. Look at the teachers you meet. How many of them have the same partner from the time they started until today? So when that is not possible, when you can't even look at someone close to you and be able to successfully know who you want to be with, how can you know what your students are? So for that matter, it's important to use Vedic astrology. Why Vedic, not Western? Vedic astrology works on a very fine parameters. Western astrology works on a 30 degrees, whereas Vedic astrology goes to 1/3 that. On top of that, that 1/3 they divide it into another 4 parts. And then the sub parts for that again. So it is not just 30 degrees, okay? That is why you find that 2 people born as twins yet don't share the same nature. So every person who calls themselves guru or teacher or whatever it is should not take a student before first working out their chart. I never do that. I always, whenever a student comes to me, the first thing I ask them is to send me the birth details. So I know who I'm teaching. I don't make guessworks. I know precisely what they need to learn what their DNA frequency is, what the deity that would suit them, and then only I start the sessions with them. I've done this all the time. It's not something today. So when you look for a guru, they have to know you to be able to teach you. So then we come back, okay, the other thing is this: when you want to learn about the womb, you need to know the power the womb has. You need to know the emotional status of the person. You need to know how the planets influences the particular emotional status of the person. So there's a whole lot of things that you have to know before you can tell them, okay, I can help you. Because the women that comes to you, they're seeking for help because you have a very responsible work. Those who want to serve humanity that way. You have an important work because humanity depends on women reclaiming their power. If you don't reclaim the Yoni power within you, or the womb Shakti power within you, you're not going to be a particularly good first guru. And for men, it's the utmost important duty for you to make sure that you help your partner. You're not going to find a partner that's going to have a powerful womb. For that matter, powerful gateway to the woman either. So it is within your power. Your voice can actually help empower your partner and make her womb powerful enough for a child to come. And then if your partner experiences miscarriage all the time, you can also prevent that from happening. There's a lot of things your voice can do to empower the womb. So the question is this: do you have what it takes to, first of all, serve your partner? At the moment, a marriage or a union between a male and a female is only for the purpose of serving each other, achieve their spiritual goals. Anything short of that, what I call, is prostitution. Because if you and your partner do not serve each other and serve a spiritual goal together, what are you doing together? Other than to have free sex. And some for the security, I have a partner. Like it's a peer group pressure. That if you don't have a partner, it's something wrong with you. I remember reading an Indian woman writing some years ago. I forget her name. And she was saying that she had a lot of peer pressure, because she was single. And she didn't bother going for men. And she was living in the West, in the US. And then she told her friends, you know what? The big difference between your community and my community is this. For you, if you don't have a boyfriend and you're not getting married and you don't have a baby by 30, there's something wrong with you. Whereas in an Indian culture, if you're not married, it's not something wrong with you. It's something wrong with your parents. It's your parents' duty to find you a husband, because they go according to tradition based on Vedic astrology. It's only now that you have love marriages coming up, but also divorces coming up in India very, very rapidly. Because love marriage always comes from the eye, never from the energetic fields. Because you have a shopping list. and you try to have a person fitting that shopping list that you have set for yourself. Partnership is not from setting shopping list. If ever there's going to be a shopping list, it's got to be a list that you create, that to find out what you have and what you can serve, what you have to offer into a relationship, not what the relationship can give you. If you can't take care of yourself, if you can't make yourself happy, how can somebody else make you happy? How do you expect your partner to make you happy when you can't be happy? When you can't give what you need to yourself, how can somebody else do it? So when you expect somebody else to do it, you find that you have a very short life use-by date. Okay, if you're lucky, you pass 1 year. And if you go into 2 years to 3 years, you're pretty lucky. But the question arises then, are you in the relationship because you're scared to leave? Or you're in the relationship because you're totally in love and the world is beautiful around you? That's a question you got to answer yourself. So let's come back to the woman. Now, we need, both men and women need women to have a powerful womb. Now, you can do it yourself as a woman, and a man can balance his male and female within himself, and a woman can learn how to empower her womb. I would prefer couples doing it together, but it's difficult to find couples being together who actually dedicate their life to serve each other and not wanting anything from each other, but being there to share. You see, the one thing is the one that creates a problem. As I said before, if what you want you can't give yourself, how can somebody else give you? Now, when we talk about the womb, as I said, the first goddess is the one that takes care of the pubic hair. She's the one that protects the gateway. The power is within her mantras. Okay, in the mantra you find for Chinnamastaka, you have Shreem, Hreem, Hreem, Aim. Then you have Vajra Vairochini, Hum, Hum, Pat, Swaha. with Chinnamastaka, you find that when you find that she cuts off her head, you have Ida flowing out, Pingala flowing out, and Swasumna flowing out. Swasumna, she drinks. Ida and Pingala, two of her maids, maiden Daikinis, drink. Okay? Now, your Ida and Pingala for the womb starts near the vagina, opening of the vagina. For men, it starts in the perineum. So, now when you do this mantra, you got to make sure that the mantra travels down to the opening of the vagina or the perineum for men. So you go, Om Shri Vajra Vairochini, Hum, Hum, Swaha. When you brought first you send the energy down to your vagina or your perineum, and then with I'm you bring it up to the third eye, and then you keep them hum pat swaha in the third eye, because you need to get rid of your ego for your vagina to become alive. Okay, so the gateway of your womb to become alive, you need the area around your pubic hair to be energized, because the hair, if you hear the story of Samson, then you can relate to a bit of what I mean by the power in the pubic hair. So you need her mantra to resonate all around the pubic hair area and open up the power. Once you've done that, so when you do the hum pat swaha, you need the ego to go, because without the ego, if the ego is involved, you're never going to feel the power of your womb. Then you go to the other mantras. Okay, if you look at, this is for both men and women. Okay, if you look at a woman's vagina, you find along the pubic hair, you can draw virtually a line, and then down on both sides they come out to a perfect triangle when they meet at the opening. And even the shape of the opening, it's like a nice place where it comes joint. So then you think about, okay, here is the important part of it. Even the Trinity are around, protects the gateway. So you have Brahma on the left side of the right side of the pubic bone, Vishnu on the left side of the pubic bone, and Shiva in the opening of the vagina. Okay, but here what we do is this: instead of using the mantra for Shiva, Brahma, and Vishnu, we do their Shakti, because the power comes from their Shakti. So we do Aim, Shreem, and Hreem, because the Shakti, their power is Shakti. Shakti is the one, but when you're doing it, you're not calling their female Shaktis, but you're calling them Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. So in your mind, you're thinking of Brahma, and you do Aim. And in your mind, you're thinking of Vishnu, and you do Shreem. And in your mind, you think of Shiva, and you do Hreem. And then in the pubic, in the clitoris area, you do Sau. That's a triangle. So that covers the pubic hair, the gateway, and it's your first rule you have to learn is how to energize the gateway. That's about all. Once you can energize them and you can keep it clean, you can keep it in a pristine condition, then it becomes healthy. When it becomes healthy, then you can activate the energy inside the womb as well. Because the womb is divided into 10 parts, and all the 10 goddesses have a part in it. But the 10 parts of the womb is not just in the womb, but goes as far as the crown chakra. So the second part, okay, how do we do the mantra for this? Usually I say do the Aim for the third eye. But here you have to do, if you're doing it self-doing, you put your mudra, you bring your Apana mudra, okay? You put that on each point that you want to do. So first you put on the right side of your womb, right side the pubic bone, sorry. Then you go, I'm. Then the left side you go, and then to the opening you send. And in the clitoris area, you go Sao. Now, this is where a partnership becomes very important. If you keep doing this and you find how much of it do you feel, okay? If you don't feel a lot when you're doing these mantras, then you ask yourself a question, okay, what can I do? This is where partnership comes important. If you have a partner that's willing to work with you, not someone who's casual about it and try to, maintain a relationship, but someone who really wants to make a difference. You need to find someone who wants to really make a difference. And then you say, okay, they can sound you. I'll give you a simple example. You put your hands around, hold your hands this way, cover it, give it a small amount of space, and you go. You do that, or you take your palm and do the sound Om. You try. The sound should not come out strong outside of your palm. It should be mostly concentrated on entering the palm. So you gotta lock your mouth in completely. Like you couldn't hear me do the Om clearly. So just now I was doing the sound Om, but you can't hear me very clearly. You try that for yourself in your hands. And then see how you feel. Because that feeling you get, the power you get out of it is what determines how far you can grow, how far the energy will change you. So a partner can do it for you because they're going to put their mouth the same way I put my mouth on my hands to do the sound. So the sound permeates very fast into that area, more than what you can do it yourself. So you need a partner who's committed and who's ready to learn how to do it. Without that partnership, it's a bit more difficult. Then you come to the question of who else do you need to invoke? Then you need to invoke KalИ, but her bija mantra Krim, K-R-I-M, is the one that is important. Her mantra is good, okay, but that works on many areas. But the sound Krim, you go Krim, Krim, Krim. So that is basically only working with the vagina, okay? And the energy that goes from there. It does not work with the energy within the womb yet, or the Kundalini, because she's also Mother Kundalini. So it is good for both men and women to do this mantra. So when you talk about sacred womb again, it is not a woman's business, it's humanity business. Both men and women know how it feels to be within the womb. If they are conscious being. If they're not conscious being, then they wouldn't know even what it means by sacred womb. And a lot of women don't even know about their womb. Basically, if they know about their womb and they know what is important for their womb, they won't be just dancing and being superficial, using psychology and all that. They wouldn't talk about sexuality in terms of the vagina, but they'll talk about sexuality in terms of the male and female within themselves. There's a big difference here. Sexuality is not about sex. Sexuality is about inner sex, the inner sexual self of you. Oh, sorry, not even sex. What am I talking? The inner male and female in you. That union is what we talk about sexuality. Sex is about you and another person. Sexuality is about you and you. So if you want, you need to balance your sexuality before you can even go into working with the energy of the womb. Then you need the sun energy to be powerful in your right side and your moon energy on your left side. So when these two energies are balanced, then you find that there is inner strength. Then you find that your sexuality is really harmonizing within each other. You know, your Shiva and Shakti is become one. There's no more duality within yourself. If there is duality within yourself, then you are doubtful about who you are. You're doubtful of what you want. If you're doubtful about what you want, how can you be in a relationship? 99% of the people today are not ready for relationships. That is why you find there's a lot of divorces. And as I said, if there's not a divorce, a lot of times they're living together because they have no choice. They don't like to be alone. Or they have children. Because they sacrifice themselves for their children. So you don't want to do that. You want something more in life, bigger than yourself. If you want something bigger than yourself, than your physical self, then go and try to become acquainted with your subtle self, your chakras, your soul, your breathing. I mean, don't even go your soul. Soul is a bit further down. Like your breathing. Do you know how to breathe? Is a question. Are you still doing shallow breath, or are you doing full breath? Can you breathe with your stomach going out instead of your diaphragm being pushed out? Most people, they do the other way. They move their diaphragm when they are breathing. They don't push their stomach out when they're breathing. So they don't fill up the lungs, because the lungs, when you pull your stomach in when you're breathing in, you're pushing your diaphragm up. You're pushing your lungs up. So your lungs cannot get enough oxygen. But when you push your stomach out, it's a lot more relaxed. And you feel your whole body with oxygen, your whole lungs with oxygen, with air. And that is first, and then you hear the sound of the breath. Then you go into this silence. But the most important thing is this, in between that, you need to know how to use your voice. If you can't use your voice efficiently, then you're not going to go very far. Like when you go, like now for instance, if I want the sun energy to go through, what is the sound? What is the deity for the sun? Okay, Surya. And what is the sound for the sun? Okay, according to Tantra, it's Hrim, because he's the king of the planets, and Parvati is the mother who created the planets. So he takes the sound of. So you take the sound towards the right side of the body. You go. Then the left side you go. That's Kamalamika. Her sound is Shreem, and you go. That's the moon. She's feminine, and you get the moon energy, which is feminine, to go down your left side. Go. Then when you want to get the central channel also moving, then you can go to the sound Kalİ. Kalİ is for karma, pleasure. But it also goes down to your pubic bone for men and into the vagina for women. You go. You focus on the sound traveling down. This is real science, okay? This will help you balance your male, female, and bring them back into the Sushumna area, the central area, which brings you the balanced relationship within your own sexuality. So today you have learned the importance of doing where Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva plays. Today we're talking about the pubic hair. We talk about Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva, the three corners of the triangle. Okay? And the mantras for them. That would give you, if you focus that one for the whole week, okay, if you have a partner, you can do it together within the partnership. If you're single, then you learn how to do it yourself, which is a bit harder, but it'll still work. Then you do the mantras. This is for women, okay? This partnership. For men, you have to do it on your own, again. Because you need the energy to go, because this is not about the womb. You're talking about the energy that goes down to your pubic bone. And you're talking about strength. You're talking inner balance. So you do the Hrim, Shreem, and Kalİ, and you find your inner balance. Okay? For a woman, that's a lot more to do, because you are born in the image of the mother of creation. You and your womb and the cosmic womb are one. So you need to align your energy to the same power of the cosmic womb. And if you can do it that way, you will become as powerful. If you're talking about being powerful, being dynamic, that is the most dynamic way of doing it. And empowering your womb, then the Kalİ within you will awaken. If she awakens, she goes up, right up to the crown chakra, and you find that you become grace in self. Grace is the most powerful energy. Not you be fighting with a man to be equal to a man is stupid, because you're born to be higher than a man. You're more connected to the Creator than a man can ever be, in this life at least. The next life, if he's born a woman, he can. But as a man, he can. It's further from the universal power, because you are Shakti, your power. So you want to understand your power, then you got to understand how to honor your power. Start off by first honoring your pubic hair. Stop shaving it. Clean it. Keep it clean. Why do you, if you're lazy to keep it clean, then there's nothing that I can say that can help you. Because remember, you can choose to be a victim for all common illnesses, or you can feel the power, work towards of getting that power together, that you become a powerful being. Okay? Thank you for being here. I think, yeah, it's just under an hour. So next week we will go a bit more in detail about how to do the mantras, what the mantras are. Finally, I'll teach you, I'll do the mantras with you, so that you don't have just 2 times, so I'll do it 7 times each, or sorry, 9 times each. That way you can listen to the videos and learn. But I'll only teach you one sequence. That doesn't mean that all of you need the same sequence. Because if you want to really study, then you have to study with me online, one-on-one. You can't come to Malaysia, which is the best option, but at the moment nobody can come to see me. Okay? Thank you. And my pleasure. Pleasure to have all of you here. So let's work towards a better world, okay? Let's work towards having really becoming powerful beings. Now I have a problem again. I don't know why.